You enter the system trying to survive a breakup, protect your child, or make sense of conflict. The sheer emotional shock hits immediately. Your nervous system locks into survival mode. You are terrified, sleep-deprived, isolated, and completely heartbroken. In this highly vulnerable state, you bring a heavy dose of optimism into the courthouse. You assume truth wins out, adults will behave rationally, and that institutions naturally protect children. Bringing reality into a rigid mechanical process creates a permanent psychological trap. Family court operates as a system of conflict management through procedure. It prioritizes the filing of motions and the adherence to schedules over the emotional restoration of the people involved. Years later, some parents realize they have joined what people in the system call the lifer club. They didn't commit a crime. They simply found themselves in a cycle where the litigation never reached a true conclusion. This flowchart visualizes the entry point of that trap. You input an emotional crisis, and the procedural gear starts turning. Seeking moral vindication from a machine built for conflict management can turn a temporary crisis into permanent legal warfare. The entrapment begins with a single instinct: self-protection. You start documenting everything to build a shield of proof. Under this continuous pressure, your brain adapts. You stop experiencing moments with your child naturally. Instead, your mind filters every interaction through a single, exhausting question: how will this look in front of a judge? Routine daily items are suddenly weaponized into evidence. A child's drawing, grocery receipts, school reports, and casual text messages become exhibits in a case file. You lose your natural identity. You act as an investigator and archivist inside your own home. A specific belief often takes hold: that if you just increase the pressure, if you fight harder and file more, the other side will eventually break and the conflict will finally end. So the paperwork multiplies. You file contempt motions, request emergency hearings, you submit rebuttals, and draft endless demands for modification. Your vocabulary shifts. Normal conversations are replaced by stipulations, formal legal conditions drafted by lawyers dictating exactly how and when you can speak to the other parent. As your life revolves around these legal terms, friends pull away, and the court becomes your primary emotional ecosystem. By filtering every human disagreement through a legal lens, the family ceases to function as a family. It operates strictly as a permanent, open case file. The anchor keeping you in this system is a desperate, unconscious need for a judge or authority figure to finally look at you and say, "You were right." Years of adversarial stress rewire your responses. A person who was once warm and relaxed becomes hypervigilant, rigid, and deeply paranoid. This creates a simple loop. Systemic conflict causes prolonged trauma. This creates intense reactive behavior. The court misinterprets these reactions, not as severe stress, but as personal instability. That perceived instability triggers harsher legal scrutiny, generating more trauma, and the loop spins continuously. Parents emotionally vanish inside this cycle. They are crushed by a machine that actively manufactures the exact trauma it claims to police. While the adults endlessly battle inside the cold courtroom walls, physical time steadily continues to pass outside of it. The parents remain psychologically frozen in litigation, but the children are actively aging, forming their earliest memories and developing their identities in the shadow of a courthouse. Many lifers eventually wake up to a staggering realization: the thousands of pages in their legal file have become far more developed and complex than their actual relationship with their child. The quiet tragedy of the lifer club is the steady erosion of a child's innocence, lost while the adults were entirely consumed by fighting to protect it. Eventually, institutionalization takes hold. Rehearsing statements before school events, analyzing texts for hidden attacks begins to feel completely ordinary. There is no graduation ceremony at the end of this. There is no cinematic apology, and the system will never spontaneously correct itself to offer you emotional closure. Leaving this cycle requires a difficult choice: to prioritize the healing of your own nervous system over the continuation of the legal battle. Losing emotion in court is a temporary setback. The true cost of the cycle is the slow disappearance of your identity, until you no longer remember who you were before litigation began.